History before the internet. The good guys. The good guys. The good guys. The good guys in New Bomb. So powerful it could destroy our planet, but they tested it anyway. They used it completely, destroyed 2 cities full of unarmed civilians, killing nearly 250,000 innocent women and children in an instant. The good guys, the good guys, the good guys.
Welcome back, Lelanders, to a new episode. Today we're going to try checking out 3 interesting topics. Take off the headphones so I can hear myself. There we go. Now the 3 topics for today's show are cloud lines seen across the planet, Chan Thomas going mainstream, and studio updates, the viewer question and answers. So first things we're going to cover is, I seen people on different shows and YouTube channels going on and on about how they're discovering lines across the planet, which I think is kind of neat because I've seen them before too. I started tracking them about 5 years ago when I was working on the ley line maps, and I noticed that the cloud lines on Google were appearing and matching some of the patterns of the red line layer. So it's neat to see other shows catching up to this and be like, hey, what are these giant lines? Now, some people are saying it's just anomalies, like these things like artifacts within Google itself, and they're not actually giant lines. But then I checked on Wikipedia and found out that there is actual what they consider line clouds. And we all know chemtrails can leave straight lines, or relatively straight from our eyes perspective from the ground or whatnot, right? So, and I noticed a lot of these dates for them are like April, May, June, July. So I was checking them out in the summer. I don't know if that's because they only appear in the summer. That could be more evidence for the geoengineering theory that these could be cloud seeding. But I'm doubtful that they could seed a cloud that wide, that straight across like half the planet. If they can, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, and then other things like hurricanes and storm clouds, they tend to spin around the orb points. So we've done other shows about that if you want to check out the archive. Yeah, there's some more of the cloud lines and how they end up usually over the red line layer. I don't have internet, which we'll cover in the last topic of the show right now. Yeah, and there's a look at the red layer. We recently, with thanks to the help of George, was able to do some mathematical magic and figure out the problems with the ley line layers that I had created so far. And after he did, he was able to complete the red line layer to my specifications exactly. So I was mind blown about that. So thanks a million, George. Right, so I think we covered everything for the ley line clouds. If anyone has information about ley line clouds they've seen before, or just straight clouds or weird clouds in general, maybe they can let us know in the chat. I'll try to check it out. Chan Thomas, so that's what we're talking about next. Chan Thomas going mainstream. I did a show a few months, maybe even years before. I don't know when I actually discovered the Chan Thomas research. That's a good question. But what happened to me is when I was doing ley lines, I often noticed that these giant line layers on the bottom of the ocean floor tend to match the ley lines, tend to match things like the equator. So I was like, wow, that's kind of neat. But the only thing that was puzzling me is it tended to bend. It was like a giant 90 degrees. Like these volcanoes have been creating Hawaii, went straight in a line for so many years, and then all of a sudden, boom, that line tended to drastically change, almost like on a 90-degree shift, right? L for loser or Leland. No, but as some of my viewers would say, the haters. But anyways, so I did some research to try to discover where I thought the previous North Pole was for the pole shift. Here we have it showing, what is this, underneath Asia. could explain some of the ideas about the mammoths and how they got frozen with tropical plants in their stomach. They went from like a 90-degree pole shift, so they were like one day walking around the tropics, and a few seconds later they're in the Arctic or North Pole or whatever pole's the coldest. So yeah, they froze like instantly with their food still undigested in their stomachs. So this 90-degree pole shift, I happened to type it into Google because I kept finding information with it with the ley lines. I'm like, Google, can you tell me who has done the most research and writing about a 90-degree pole shift theory? Because 180 pole shift is very popular, but who talked about the 90? And then Google's like, check out Chan Thomas. His book is banned by the CIA. You can't even read it all. It's still detracted, and it's called Adam and Eve. It has like a weird religious cult tone to it. So anyways, and yeah, that was pretty wild. So I'm like, okay, this ufologist Chan Thomas, man, this guy's work seems to be dead on. And a lot of people like, who is it? Tim Pool, mainstream researcher for the alternative news community. He's very popular. His channel's like up there in the millions or whatever, right? So he's even discussing Chan Thomas now. I wonder if he'll get his hands on a unedited copy of the book. Be interesting to find out all the details. And to break down Chan Thomas's theory, he just basically, I haven't read the whole book obviously, but something to do with a 90-degree pole shift that occurred rapidly, could possibly be tidal waves. So we saw this whole tsunami event, earthquakes come up recently. People into the Chan Thomas are like, oh my god, it's here. I shouldn't be so happy about the destruction of humanity. But anyways, you've heard my intro song. It was AI that made it, I swear. I had nothing to do with it. Anyways, so yeah, there's the 90-degree pole shift. You can see how the line on the bottom of the ocean tends to match the prime meridian or anti-meridian ley line, but it bends for 90 degrees. And then there's the one by South America, that equator line, it bends at 90 degrees as well. So there's quite a bit of evidence in 90-degree bending. That's what she said. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So anyways, I think that was the Chan Thomas, so we're going to keep a close eye on that. I'll bring any viewer updates I hear about that. Lastly, we got studio updates and viewer questions, so we'll try to check out the rest of the studio. Right, so as you can tell, the studio is a new location. It's not next to a giant highway, so we don't have big trucks and motorcycles roaring by every few minutes interrupting the show. We got King Tut watching above us. He peeks in and on the show occasionally, thanks to the algorithm. Got my pineapple plants. They're growing by the window. My wife, hopefully we'll be able to get her in the studio helping with keeping the show moderated for live streams. So shout out to her. She's just out right now. But yeah, so that's the updates. We don't have the internet yet. We're looking at the middle of August before we get that back hooked up. Probably September-ish before we get everything sorted out. And we even got some guests lined up. Who is it? Robert said he might come back, the previous host at M&R Radio, or not radio, Internet Conspiracy Show. So it was a wild show. We've been on his show a few times. He's been on mine a few, and we'll try to get him back. His show was all talking about these topics, like weird things like chemtrails and the Chan Thomas. Well, he talked a lot about doomsday stuff, but I don't think he's heard about Chan Thomas yet. So we'll try to discuss that with Robert when we get him on the show. Alright, so bye everyone. Oh yeah, and the viewer questions, we're going to get them as soon as we get the studio and internet going. That's the plan. Alright, bye everyone. Thanks everyone, and make sure to like, sub, and share, and keep liking the Leyline videos. Some of them are over 10,000 views and stuff, so really appreciate everyone. Take care, and bye for now. Later. Yeah, we'll get the studio sound effects done. Right, Tut? You got it. Later.
History before the internet. The good guys. The good guys. The good guys. The good guys that knew bomb. So powerful. powerful, it could destroy our planet, but they tested it anyway. They used it, completely destroyed 2 cities full of unarmed civilians, killing nearly 250,000 innocent women and children in an instant. The good guys, the good guys, the good guys.